Welcome to Software Testing Unleashed, the podcast for testers, developers, and all software people who want to create best quality software. My name is Richie. I'm a software quality coach, author, and keynote speaker, and happy to bring you an episode live from the HUSTEF Conference 2025 in Budapest. HUSTEF is one of the greatest conferences I've ever been to. Top quality talks, amazing people, and that unique mix of friendly and intense atmosphere you only find at truly great events. If you have ever get the chance, go there. Seriously, you will love it. My guest today is Steve Watson. Steve is an experienced quality engineer manager who leads and coaches testers to help them to be the best they can be. And one part to be the best is critical thinking. So we talked about what does it mean to be a critical thinker in the age of AI when it comes to testing, and why it is so important to switch on our brain to ask the right questions and to do what we can best. And now enjoy the episode. Hello, Steve. Great to have you here in the show.
Hey, Richie. It's good to be here, actually.
Yeah.
I think we're in for a fun time.
Yeah. So I think we have to clarify the situation. We did the recording at the HUSTEF, and I had some technical issues, and I cannot use the recording, so we have to redo it now remote. And I'm so happy that you said yes, we do it again.
The challenge is remembering what we said 3 months ago.
Yeah, but nobody knows.
That's true. It's only you and I would know.
Yeah, so we can talk about anything. Yeah, and we will see again at this year's HUSTEF 2, I hope.
Very much looking forward to it. Yes.
Yeah,
yes, I hope so too.
I think you are one of the with a one-digit inventory number at the HUSTEF.
Yes, it's a nice way of saying I've been around a while.
Yeah.
And I've been to HUSTEF. Well, 2025 was my 4th visit, and it really is one of the best conferences. I've got to say, it's just run by such a really lovely group of people, and you're just made to feel so welcome and included. And as a speaker, you just go along and really enjoy it. You take away all the stress, and I think you perform better because of it.
Yeah, I think that's so true, because when I arrived there, it was so nice. It was such a great spirit there, and all people were so friendly and talking, chatting to me. And it was really nice, and I really want to come back this year too.
Yes, yeah, you've got to. Well, bring all your recording equipment.
That's true, and
just press the right buttons this time.
Good. Yes, I will. Yeah. So you had a speech about critical thinking in the age of AI, and so I think that is so important that I'm so happy that we can redo this topic here now, because I think that's one of the big topics we have to face as a tester in the present and in the future. Just to say.
Yeah, I mean, AI is one of those buzzwords, isn't it? You can't open LinkedIn or something without finding someone talking about AI. But we as testers have to think very carefully how we use it. And it's up to us to make sure that we are, I'm not going to use the word guardians, but we are sensibly using the tools, because that's what AI is. It's a tool. It doesn't replace what we do, but it helps us. It should help us to do the jobs that we do better. But if AI isn't regulated, if it's not used in the right way, then all sorts of issues can happen. And I just felt very strongly that I wanted to stand up and say, look, as testing professionals, we have a role here. That we have to really sort of up our game a little bit. And it's not about being fearful and thinking, oh, AI takes our jobs. It's about pivoting and saying, actually, what do we need to do differently to how we've been operating as testers before?
Yeah.
So that's what drove me to do that talk.
Yeah, that's so true. So what do you think? Because we have tools in the history, a lot of tools for test automation and stuff. Well, what makes AI so different for us?
I think it's the difference between us telling a tool what we want it to do by sort of crafting on the keyboard to collaborating with a tool. It's completely different. You will ask a tool for its opinion on something, or to go away and write something for you, as opposed to you using the tool to write code like Selenium. You'd sit there and you'd write it in C# or whatever language. Now the AI tools can actually write that code for you. So we're moving away from telling a computer what to do to actually collaborating with it. And that has to take a mind shift. And that's something that, adapting to change doesn't come easily to all of us. And, you know, but I think it's the biggest shift in our recent history in the way they work with things. We've had evolution of tools, but this is very different, and it's exciting. I think it's really truly exciting.
Yeah, I think that's so where we have very great times now, and we can so much to explore and so much to find out with all the tools. And I really like that. In my childhood, I always looked Star Trek and all this science fiction stuff, and now a little bit we are there.
Yeah, we are, and it seems to have happened really quickly.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and you said okay, we have to deal with the change, but what is the problem if we can do not use AI in the right way?
That's a great point, because I think a concern of mine is, well, there's two different concerns that I've got. One is about our own cognitive ability. I'll come back to that. But I think AI tools contain biases. And the problem is we don't always know what they are. So if you go to any of the tools, I'm not going to single out a particular one, but you go to any AI tool and you ask a question and you ask it to perhaps give you an opinion, give me a summary. You can see AI tools everywhere giving you summaries. The information they provide is only as good as the information sources that they're using. Now, if you are not using your skills to think, how do I know that the information given to me is of good quality? How do I know it's broadly representative? How do I know it's not biased towards one judgment or another, one side or another? Dig deeper, and then we get into all sorts of biases that can have detrimental effects on humans. Things that are built by AI tools that are geared to people who are all middle-aged, Western, of a certain socioeconomic bracket, who would disadvantage those who are not in those brackets. So that's where the dangers lie, and where I think we need to be really careful. And as testers, our jobs have always been to uncover information. It's not about finding bugs, it's uncovering information that enables someone to make an informed decision. That's even more important. If we don't feel that the information provided is of good enough quality, we need to call it out. We need to go and work with the people that create the tool to say, well, where is the source of information? And we need to do our own independent verification, not just take something that AI tells us and say, oh, that's true. Unless you've given it a piece of writing. Let's say you want to restructure something. Like me at the moment, I'm struggling to think of certain words. Let's say you're trying to write an email and it's Friday afternoon and you're thinking, struggling with this. AI, tell me how I could write this. You've given it the information to work from. But if you're asking it to give you opinion on something where you've not supplied the reference data, you have a duty and an obligation to understand where that's from. That's my opinion. I'm not sure everyone will agree with me, but I think it's really important. Why would you just take something that it tells you as being truthful if you haven't double checked it yourself?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and on the other side, when we just use the AI, we miss the part where we learn how to review the stuff which goes on, because we have we have not the knowledge about the history of the stuff which is created there.
That's true. But I think as testers, we've always been able to say, what are we expecting to see here? And we go and look back over requirements and we think, okay, what are we trying to achieve here? And we should question the requirements if they don't make sense. It's one of the things I love doing, is actually looking back through requirements and doing a review and thinking, if I'm that person, I work for an airline. So if I'm a pilot and I need to see something on my iPad, I don't need to actually be a pilot to use common sense to know whether something looks right or not, to question it. So we should still use those questioning abilities. So I think we have those abilities. We just need to transfer them across and start questioning the AI. So if somebody comes to you and says, here's something that I've created, and it could be you've created a test plan, a whole test approach, or a whole series of tests, and you've just said, here's a requirements document, AI tool, give me everything you've got. Now, if all you do is take that and go, yeah, great, and move on, you haven't done your job properly. If you look at that and say, there's a good start point, but what data have you referenced? Have you referenced everything that I would want to look at?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what could be missing? And you've got to start asking those questions.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so important. But how can we, how to say, how can we gain this skill that we more focus on this critical thinking? How can we relearn it a little bit? Maybe I think some we get lost of that in the AI world. How can we trigger us there to relearn that and to use of our critical thinking?
I think we have to be aware of the limitations of AI. So one of the guys that I work with at EasyJack, Adam Bacon, he said, treat AI like a knowledgeable team member, the person you would go to for advice. Now, if you go and ask a team member something and they tell you something, how many of you would say, yep, that's perfectly true, without doing any more checking? Perhaps you wouldn't. You might go, oh, that's brilliant. I'll go and do some more investigation. Thank you. You've helped me with that. You'd take it as maybe most of what you need, but you'd still do a little bit of due diligence around it. Well, why would AI be any different? It's a data source. It's a reference point. It's a tool that you're using, and it doesn't mean it's right all the time. I think we have the skills. I don't think we have to relearn them. I think we just have to repurpose them. And humans, I don't know if you saw the talk that I did, but I found a picture of a pathway where it's tarmacked, and then there's a little cut corner where people have walked across grass. We're humans and lazy. We take shortcuts.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, it's so easy for us to say, oh, AI tools will do everything for us, right? We just won't bother then. That's the point where it starts to switch a little bit. So at the moment, we've all got to a point where we've been using our brains constantly and we haven't relied on AI. Fast forward 5 or 10 years, if all we've done is ask AI to do things for us and we don't know what the outcome should be because we've lost the ability, the scales have tipped. That's the point where your question becomes relevant, because if we lose those skills, that's when we're going to have to get them back. So the key is don't lose them in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's not so easy because when we see the output of ChatGPT and Gemini, it always looks so smooth. And you said it, we want to take the short way. And when we see the output of ChatGPT and so on, this is a very short way. It's so sophisticated, so smooth written, and so I want just to take it. It's so nice because it's programs
easy,
like yeah, it's easy. Yeah,
isn't it? It's easy, yeah. But you can always look at something and ask it, where are you getting your reference data from? It's not difficult for us to do. I just think because we're all humans, we're all inherently lazy, we all love taking shortcuts. It would be so easy to go, great, this is going to do half my job for me. I'll just sit back and have a cup of tea. But we shouldn't do that. We should be thinking, great, that's done the bulk of the work. Now what's the bit that I need to do? What's missing?
when you when we look at your daily work, so how where do you see the benefits of AI in your work, where you can really work with it like a sparring, with a review of the output? Where is there a real benefit for your daily work today? What do you think?
I did have some really good time savings with something I was doing. I wanted to find out what people in our organization understood between the terms testing and quality engineering. That's a whole different discussion. But I wanted to see whether people understood it and what they thought. So I asked some questions of 2 user groups and collated all the information. And I thought, it's going to take me ages to do that. Hang on a minute. I wonder if AI could. So I got AI to take the answers from one group, look at them for commonalities and themes and differences, do the same for the other group, and then compare both. So I got 3 sets of data out of there, and then I got it to present it for me in a format that I could take to another group. And I think the whole thing took maybe a couple of hours, and I was thinking it was going to take me days because use Microsoft Forms. So then you've got all the data that's in Excel tabs, and you've asked about 10 different questions, and you've got different people answering some, but not all, or answering in different ways. The AI tool was able to go through and call out key phrases. But because I knew the data set that it was using, I didn't have to worry about what could it be missing externally. I just needed to make sure I hadn't missed anything from the data that I'd used. But it actually did a really good job of summarizing. Here's the points that people understand. Here's the points people don't. And within the testing community and outside the testing community, these are the common themes. These are the differences. And it enabled me to have a look and say, actually, here's where we need to do some more work, some education. So it was really useful from that point of view. There's still some work to do with AI. I mean, more recently, I was working my way through about 200 different requirements to see whether I could find any questions I had, any ambiguities, anything that I wanted to question. And I got most of the way through, and I thought, it's getting late in the day. This is where the laziness comes in. Let's see if AI can help me. Not to offload it, but just to see. And I put it into a tool to say, okay, highlight anything that's ambiguous, doesn't make any logical sense. I gave it a few pointers, but actually, when it came back with it, it called out things that I was happy with, and it missed things that I wasn't. So I thought, actually, is it worth trying to keep retraining it? Because I know what I'm looking for, I'll do that myself. And part of the journey is knowing what is AI suitable for and what isn't, and it's trial and error.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And I think it's always because it's a very new technology for the mainstream. It's about 3 years. Okay, it's not that new, but how to integrate it in our work is I think we have no real blueprint up to now. So we have to evaluate and learn how to use it in our daily life on a good and proper way.
we're learning as we go. I mean, the organization that I'm working for is learning at the same time. I think we're all in the same boat. And that's one of the nice things, is that we're all on the same journey, and it's interesting to see, how we will all evolve with this. Where will we be? We used to sit and go, where will we be in 5 or 10 years? I'm thinking, where will we be at this time next year? Because it moves so quickly. And what skills are those who are at the moment sort of in secondary school and college going to be picking up? Because AI is going to be part of their daily lives, and they're going to pick it up a lot quicker than those of us who've been around a bit longer. So we've got probably a steeper learning curve, because we've got to relearn how to do things that we've done previously differently. They're just going to learn how to use AI. But there comes an education piece, not just how we learn it, but I think we need to help train the next generation. I think we need to use the skills and knowledge that we have and the skepticism that we ought to have, and make sure that we pass that on. Because the risk that we have is that, we will come along and say, well, we used to do it this way. We know AI will do it this way, but we're going to question it. We've just got to make sure anybody new to the workplace doesn't come in and go, AI will do everything for me. Great. Because they don't know how things worked previously. So we have to learn to use AI and think about how we transfer some of those skills that people are not going to inherently have in the future. And it brings different challenges, which is fascinating, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, that's so true, because I think for all the critical thinking stuff, when I look at trainings and so on, it's always integrated but not really obvious. We talk about test methods, about test automation, all these things, but to learn how to ask questions is a very important thing, and even more now. So I think this is one skill, as you said, we have to give to the juniors and to the next generation too. Yeah.
I'm thinking about, how to do something like that, because I realized when I did the talk at Hustef, I've sort of stood up there and I said, here's a problem. Didn't really tell people how to solve it, but you can't really in 25 minutes. But it made me think, maybe that's something that I can try and start looking into a bit more, creating a workshop or something. And maybe that will drive others to also do similar things, so that collectively we're able to help transfer the skills that we have to the next generation. Because I think that would be a good thing to do. We should always be trying to help each other improve things.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true. Well, what comes to my mind is when we, as a tester, we can learn the critical thinking part. We can challenge our output we generate with AI, but we also there is a huge outcome from all the coding stuff. The developers who are creating code with copilots, with vibe coding, and so on. So we get much more output now from this stage of the development process to us, not knowing if it's AI driven or not. So, do you have any idea how we can deal with that better in the future? Because we have up to now already a lot of work to do, and I think it's even get more when the code mass is exploding.
It's a tough one, because I think you're going to end up with AI creating the code that the developers write, and AI creating the tests to test the code that AI wrote. Much in the way that you have developers writing code and testers writing code to test the developer's code. All that's going to change is who's writing the code or what is writing the code. There still needs to be some level of validation, and it still comes down to humans. To some respects, I don't know whether it matters who writes the code. I think is the code doing what it's supposed to do, and is it of the right quality? That still matters. So our role, I think the focus of our role is still the same thing. So we need to provide something to an end user to achieve some output. At the end of the day, there's always a user at the end of it. Focus on that goal. What are we trying to achieve? Now, is the code written by AI or a human? Not to be flippant, but I don't really care. What I care about is, does it deliver what was expected or does it not? And how do I find that out? Now, I can use tools to help me, and they'll give me lots of answers, but does that leave other answers or not? So that's where I think the focus will be. There's still going to be a code quality issue, but can we fix? Can we? Yeah, it's an interesting one. Does it matter whether AI writes the code? Actually, might be better quality, but don't tell the developers I said that.
we don't know what is the output there.
So, no, they might get very upset.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. What do you think when we look at the AI stuff now? Is the role of the tester changing, or as you said, I mentioned a little bit, so we still have to look at the for the end user and so. But do you think our role is changing in the next years, or is it just doing more stuff?
I think the role should always be changing and evolving. Testing isn't, the tester role isn't just about going in, writing some tests, running some tests, flagging some bugs, and that's it. It's always been broader than that. I think we have even more of a role now in questioning requirements and questioning, anything that is produced, because requirements could be AI produced, they could be produced by a human, but we should still question. And I think the danger is that we back off, and we shouldn't be doing that. So it's our focus, our task is still the same. How we do it will differ, because we'll use more AI tools. It's inevitable. We're already using them, whether we think we do or not. And I can't be many people in our countries who haven't used AI tools, because they're just embedded in your phones as well. But it's just harnessing our skills, I think. I think we need to put more time, effort, and training into our analytical skills. It's always worried me that, and I did a talk on this, I can't remember how many years ago, it could be 10 years or more, that there's a massive imbalance in training as testers. 80-90% of your time is spent learning to write some code. How much do you actually invest in doing the job better? Just because you write code doesn't make you a better tester. We need to address that. And if AI is going to take away maybe writing some of that coding that we currently do as testers, we have more time. How do we use that time? That's what changes for us, I think. So testing needs to happen. And if we want to stay relevant, we need to show that we are keeping up to pace with things.
Yeah, yeah. Steve, I think that's a good word for the end. I thank you very much that you take the opportunity now here and do the work with a re-recording of our podcast interview here. I thank you so much for these insights for our community, and I really looking forward seeing you at the Hustev 2026. Maybe the time before too, but latest on there.
Hope so. Thank you for having me along today. It's been really good chatting with you, and we didn't get to chat properly, I guess, back in October. But yes, well, hopefully this year, if we're both there, everything will work smoothly.
Yes. Thank you. Have a good time. Bye.
Goodbye.